Wemby away from the rim. Julius Randle, one of those guys that obviously needs to be on a tear for Minnesota to have a chance to win this series. So that's not just tonight. That's every night that Minnesota has to play San Antonio.
I am going to go with Victor Wembanyama having 3 or more three-point shots. I think Rudy Gobert is going to have to chase him all night tonight. And this is something that Wemby is very accustomed to. 17 times in the regular season and 1 time in the playoffs did he have 3 or more threes. The Spurs went 13-4 whenever he does that. It's a winning recipe for the San Antonio Spurs. Let's talk more about Wemby, though. He's up against someone that he is familiar with, going up against 4-time Defensive Player of the Year in Rudy Gobert. Chiney, I don't know, can Chiney cannot hear me. Okay, so is the matchup between Wemby and Rudy the most intriguing matchup here in the second round? Jay, what do you think?
Not for me. And look, I think Wemby is obviously one of the most incredible talents there is in basketball. And I've seen the job that Gobert was able to do against Denver. And I think it's going to be a difficult matchup. But I feel like I know the personalities of both those two people, right? Like you watch Wemby on TV, you know who he is, you see it in person, you feel it with the way he plays. Like he is old school, hardcore. Rudy Gobert, obviously that background that they both have from France, but still defensive-minded, a guy that's going to take on that challenge. The best matchup to me in the playoffs is Joel Embiid versus Karl Anthony Towns. Stephen A., for all the reasons you alluded to before, it may not be the one that's the most exciting way it jumps off the page because nobody in the game of basketball is Victor Wembanyama. Nobody. But we get a chance to see the real personality of Karl Anthony Towns against a guy that there is history there. They have fought each other. They go at each other. And all this talk about getting through Joel Embiid, everybody's talking about Boston, for it to be Joel Embiid for Karl Anthony Towns, when people are questioning the toughness of Karl Anthony Towns, if there's any series you want to see him put a stake in the ground, is versus Joel Embiid, who is hobbling, whatever the hell it is, it don't matter. New York fans aren't going to care. They want to see him go at Joel Embiid. I love that matchup.
Okay, so you like Embiid.
Okay,
go ahead. Yeah, Chiney, your most favorable matchup.
Let me break this down. The most intriguing player right now in the NBA is an all-star, newly named Defensive Player of the Year, someone who is coming off of a 17-point, 14-rebound, 6-block game, giving the Spurs their first playoff series win since 2017, which is wild that it's been that long. That man is Victor Wembanyama. He has that it factor. I was home, Houston, Texas, with my dad. He was just walking through the kitchen. I was watching the games, obviously. And there are very few players that makes anyone watching just stop what they're doing in their tracks and admire. It's Victor. My dad had to sit down and was like, how is this fully possible? This man is just scratching the surface of greatness. And who is he going up against? His teammate by France. And Rudy Gobert, who is a 4-time Defensive Player of the Year, who just forced Nikola Jokic to shoot the worst shooting percentage that we have seen him don in a Nuggets uniform, around 56 or so percent, a horrible shooting percentage. And so relative to what Jokic is capable of doing, you look at these two guys, I know maybe centers are not sexy in this day and age, even though you are going with the center matchup for Philly and New York, but Victor Wembanyama is appointment viewing, and Rudy Gobert is having a renaissance in how he's approaching the postseason. Give me that matchup.
No, Janae, I'm going to disagree with you. I'm going to side with Jay here. And the reason I'm going to side with Jay here is because, for the most part, when you look at Jokic and the way he's owned Rudy Gobert in the past, although a few threes would be sprinkled in there, the brother was averaging 35 on 65% shooting this season alone and historically owned Rudy Gobert before this go-round. Props to Rudy Gobert for stepping up his game, making the necessary adjustments, and doing what he got to do. But when I'm thinking about Wembanyama, I'm like, yo, what you going to do if you Rudy Gobert against a brother that's pulling up from 3? What you going to do? I mean, we can't expect anything from Rudy Gobert in that regard. It's more plausible to think about Karl Anthony Towns against Joel Embiid. Because Joel Embiid is hobbled, he can't really get off the floor. Even though he's big at 7'1", 270 and can put that backside on you, and that could be problematic, obviously. He can't get off the floor the way he used to be able to whenever he's healthy. But he still got game and he still got moves back to the basket or facing the basket. Karl Anthony Towns is a brother whose post game is limited, but he can sniper you out of there from long range. And him against Embiid, I believe if he doesn't answer the call offensively, the New York Knicks could lose this series. Obviously, I got them winning the series because I have faith in my man that I did the commercial with for the NBA. I believe Karl Anthony Towns will show up, and he going to sit up there and put some buckets, and the Knicks going to win this series.
That series is the one to watch, but the matchup to me is the one in San Antonio. But I hear you.
With the Pistons and the Cavaliers winning Game 7s at home yesterday, we are down to 8 remaining in the NBA playoff semifinal rounds beginning today with 2 series happening in a couple of hours. 76ers Knicks getting us started at 8 Eastern, followed by Timberwolves Spurs. That at 9:30. Let's focus on those Timberwolves. Got a developing story on SportsCenter. Minnesota may get some major help ahead of Game 1 tonight in San Antonio. Anthony Edwards now listed as questionable for the game. Just 9 days ago, he hyperextended that left knee against the Nuggets. Edwards, who also suffered a bone bruise on the play, went through light on-court work this weekend, was cleared for basketball activities ahead of today's shoot-around, which would be absolutely huge for the Minnesota Timberwolves taking on the absolute unit that is the San Antonio Spurs. To dive deeper into it, basketball analyst Monica McNutt joining the program this morning. McNutt, good to see you. If Edwards is able to go earlier than expected, how confident are you in still taking the Spurs in this series?
Ooh, good morning, Stricey. Good to see you as well. Listen, Anthony Edwards obviously is the caliber of player that shifts the dynamic. I think it's important to note that the Wolves were a team that had wins over both the Spurs and OKC this summer. The grit that you saw those guys use in dismantling the Nuggets in 6 games is very, very real of that group. He is a dimension-changing player. Do I give the Wolves a chance over the Spurs, though, is a loaded question. Yes, I do. I still think the Spurs are favored, though, because I'd like to see a fully healthy Wolves squad going into this matchup. But Anthony Edwards is definitely a guy that gives them a big-time punch in terms of his ability to get to the rim, unafraid, even though Big Wemby is down there.
55 points for Anthony Edwards last time the Timberwolves played the Spurs in a San Antonio win. All right, let's go back out east. 76ers, Knicks. Tyrese Maxey averaging 30 points per game against New York this season. How do the Knicks slow him down?
Well, I think you look at the Knicks bench. There's a lot of guys that offer, or 2, I should say, that offer some speed at that defensive guard position when you look at Jose Alvarado and Deuce McBride. But as a team, I think ultimately you've got to present him with a solid line of defense up front, but then it's on the back end being prepared for him to get into the paint, and that means help rotations. The other thing, though, the Knicks, to me, have to make sure they're taking quality shots, so at least the ball is going to go through the net so that the Sixers have to inbound it. Long shots, long misses, poor shots, turnovers, all of that fuels into the speed of Tyrese Maxey.
76ers getting the Knicks after eliminating the 2-seed Celtics, led by Joel Embiid's 34 points in Boston in Game 7. Monica, take a listen to Boston's Jaylen Brown talking about Embiid on his Twitch stream last night.
This is my personal opinion on basketball. Some of y'all might disagree. You know what I mean? But argue with your grandma. Flopping has ruined our game. Joel Embiid is a great player, one of the best bigs in basketball history. Flops. He know it. This ain't breaking news. This ain't, you know what I mean? It is what it is. Y'all can clip it up, like I said. Y'all can post it on these paid accounts that y'all, these bot, whatever. That's just my opinion.
We'll post it on SportsCenter, too. Brown also said as part of the stream that the refs, quote, had an agenda against him during the series. You hear that and think what, Monica?
I think a couple things can be true. Listen, I'm a child of an official, not a pro-level official, but if you are able to get away with it, why wouldn't you? I'm not going to say that I think Joel Embiid is in fact, flopper, but I do know that manipulating the rules to your favor is a part of the game, right? The other part of this to me is this is Sunday night after you've been eliminated, and there are other issues that could have been addressed in terms of being the team to advance to the next round outside of Joel Embiid's flopping. I don't think that Jaylen Brown is inaccurate in his observation. I just find it curious that that's where you go after losing in the first round after being one of the favorites to get out of the Eastern Conference.